Terrible.
Ready?
It's not the.
Do we have anyone in line? Okay. Okay. All right. I'll wait for Barry.
Oh, yeah. Same thing. Yeah, it's too bad. Oh,
That's what I've heard.
this will add thanks to the cough drop. Wasn't even in it. Why didn't you put it in there?
Larry, did you break your computer again?
Oh, there you go.
I usually have a couple extras too.
Put on the note that you guys.
See Krishner's desk. He's got more.
Yeah.
Oh, you want one?
No, it just says, I opened the door and says, thanks for the cough drop.
Oh, man, for sure. Yeah, no kidding. Mustard. Except the dog wants to go out and play in its water running. Oh, what kind of puppies did you get? Oh, yeah. Nice. Each one of the kids got a puppy.
The kids.
Yeah, of course. They get to play with them and you get to do everything else. Okay, while Barry is working on the computer or on the tablet, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Megan is doing roll call. Thank you, Megan. We'll stand for silent prayer and pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as printed.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Waddle, second by Mr. Bonfiglio. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed, same sign. Now I'll entertain approval of the minutes of the February 15th, 2022 monthly meeting. Motion by Mr. Jarvis, second by Mr. Bonfiglio to approve. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, under public comments, we do have one. And that is Melissa Zamzo would like to speak to the board. Melissa, you're on.
Good evening. My name is Melissa Zamzo, and on Friday, March 18th, 2022, I will end my tenure here as the clerk of court. I wanted to take this opportunity to thank you all for supporting the court system and myself during my last 11 years as the clerk of circuit court. Our system has seen many challenges during my time here, and there are many more changes to come. I would ask you to continue your support of the court system, continue the support you have shown in the past to the court system, not only in the past and into the future. I'm excited for my new adventure, and I know that my successor, Katrina Rasmussen, will do a wonderful job for the county and its citizens. She's worked in the clerk of court's office for 14 years and has been my chief deputy for the last 2.5. Together, we've made the court system work with all of the pressures we have faced, and I have no doubt in my mind that she's up to handling the challenges that the future holds. Thank you again, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Melissa. Next, we have no unfinished business, so we're going on to new business. And the first order of business is the county administrator's monthly report. Melissa?
Good evening. I will keep this short since this is a long agenda. You can tell we've been busy. Just wanted to share a few things. We are moving forward with the tax foreclosure process. I have both the treasurer and the register of deeds and facilities and parks all helping move that project along. We're looking to hire someone to really spearhead it and then aid the treasurer's office along with that. So that's going well. Good teamwork there. On the agenda, you see several staff reorganizations. We're looking at how staffing is and how we can make it better. We're kind of doing more with less, and we get to a point where we have to move things around. So that's good. Year-end numbers as far as budget, we're almost done. We have pretty much just 2 departments that we're waiting on, and then we'll get you the final numbers for year end of 2021. I do have to note the Register of Deeds is giving back like 88,000, something like that, which is a lot for because of so much has been going on with real estate, and the zoning office is also he gets to present tonight. I think that's why all the people are here. But he also has additional revenue from all the things that have been happening with real estate, and that's really why we want to move the tax foreclosed properties so people can buy it, use it, spend their money here, pay taxes here. And I also wanted to report from Patty about COVID. COVID numbers have been fabulous. Our positives were down to only 5 this week, and we're down to 5% positivity. And if you remember on that sheet, it was always like 23% positivity. So this is really good, and I'm very hopeful. I think staff are really happy. It's good to see your faces. And the last thing I wanted to say was we're working on just combining some of the county board committees. So Ruth, myself, Donna, and Megan have worked hard on like looking at see if we can get some efficiencies because there's only 11 of you and there's a lot to cover. So those will be on later. I'm happy to comment on that. And the 2 of you that are leading us, thank you for all your service, and thank you to the entire board for this term of service. Any questions for me?
I got one.
Sure.
Back when you came on board, you said there would be an open door policy for your office.
Mhm.
I was told that now we have to have an appointment. What brought about those changes?
I don't think it was a change. I think possibly I've been booked back to back to back. So if the door's closed, it's probably because someone's in there. And otherwise, it's probably easier to make an appointment based on all the meetings that we've had with all the task force and all the building meetings and then meeting with all the departments.
Okay.
So it is still an open door policy. It's just this first 4 months have been very hectic. But no, you're always welcome to come and
Need an appointment. You can't,
if someone's in there, yeah, I suppose.
because I've been here a couple times, and the one time I wasn't aware that I needed an appointment, I was gonna briefly chat with you. And today I was there and they said you were out of the office because other commitments, which I understand, but I just was not aware that the appointment system was put in place. I thought it was if you're in town, stop in and see me. I'll take 2 minutes of your time or whatever, but
Oh, absolutely.
so
But if I'm with someone,
I
yeah,
understand.
yeah.
So, okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Melissa.
Yep.
Next, we have Land Conservation and Zoning Department Annual Report. Director Todd Waller.
Good evening, everyone. Well, 2021, boy, as I look back, I think of 2020. Obviously, 2021 offered us a number of challenges and service constraints that were brought on, obviously, by COVID and the 2-year pandemic. 2021, we saw many offices that continued to remain closed, or we saw that access and that was severely limited as a lot of people were working remotely. Another thing that we saw in 2021, energy and material costs skyrocketed. Surprisingly, as you'll see from the numbers, I thought it would have a severe impact in, severely reducing down the number of permits. It did just the opposite. The one thing too that I think is really underestimated is that also many companies are now starting to experience major turnover in their employment base based upon baby boomers that are heading towards the retirement pastures. Excuse me. Our own office lost a 29-year veteran. And anytime you lose a veteran of that caliber, there's the cost of rebuilding and restructuring, but you also lose 3 decades of knowledge. I'm gearing up right now for additional retirements within the office. In April, Mary Bone of 9 years will be leaving us. And then probably in June or July of next year, I'm going to be losing Ed Hernandez. But however, despite all these challenges, our office has found significant successes. As you'll see here in a little bit, our overall permit numbers were up to all-time highs. Our land use permits lagged just slightly below those of 2020, but our sanitary permits eclipsed all recorded numbers since we've been keeping track. Great news behind that is my revenue exceeded our budgetary expectations. Sarah printed up a report for me just recently, and I'll be returning over $192,000 to the general ledger. So, with Amy Schultz's departure, we turned that challenge into a success. We had 2 in-house employees that rose to the occasion and were justly promoted to fill the voids. Kyle Kutcher has been promoted to deputy director, and Cindy Rettler has been promoted to zoning technician. In addition, we recently hired Amy Lear, Avery Lear, I apologize. Avery Lear is our new administrative specialist. She took Cindy's job. If you get a chance, come in and meet her. Great girl, perfect fit, personality-wise and disposition to our department. And then one other highlight is that this year, after a 45-minute Q&A session from DATCAP, our land, water, and resource management plan was approved in December and ultimately was supported and adopted by the county board in January of 2022. As I pointed out, our office issued a large number of land use permits. We actually issued 488 land use permits in total, comprised of 84 new homes, 83 additions to homes, and 321 accessory structures. If you look at that bottom graph, you'll see that 2021 literally was one of the 3 largest amounts of permits that we've issued since 2008. General Engineering Company, who's our current contracted inspection agency, issued 486 total permits. These were spread amongst new homes, commercial structures, additions to homes, alterations, deck to homes, electrical installations, and miscellaneous permits. The fees collected 2021 exceeded $233,000, which was a 16% jump over the previous year. In addition, we issued 236 sanitary permits, authorizing 88 new private on-site wastewater treatment systems, 127 replacements, and 21 reconnections to existing systems. And as many of you are aware, we are required by state statute to have a mandatory POUTS maintenance program. In accordance with this program, these systems are to be inspected every 3 years. And so that we don't overload the system, we do stagger those notifications. And right now we have basically 3 staggered groups. In 2021, we issued, notices were sent to 3,620 landowners in the county. Gave 98 citations. At present, there's only 4 of those that are remaining as outstanding. So our overall compliance rate is darn near 100%. Our department conducted over 700 field visits to various properties around the county. These included 167 sanitary system inspections, 6 on-site soil verifications, about 265 code non-compliance investigations, 69 annual travel trailer inspections, 206 landowner requested information visits, 2 re-veges, and 35 address number assignments. There were also 161 code non-compliance inquiries made to our office, 200 total investigations, and 108 which were non-compliant situations that are still pending. We also worked with 14 non-metallic mining sites, which involve about 243 unreclaimed or active acres. This year's inspection fees netted the department about $4,400. And right now we have about 9 acres that were reclaimed in 2021. Reclaimed is basically when it is brought back to passive recreation, such as you see on the right-hand side. And working with the Soil and Water Resource Management Program, we secured $50,000 for landowners for hard practices, which include shaping and grading of grassed waterways, riparian buffers, as well as wetland restoration, stream bank protection projects, and others. We also secured $25,000 for what we call our soft practices, which is basically nutrient management. We tracked a total of 38,461 acres, which represents about 41% of the county's tillable lands. And this year we spent, last year, $2,700 was spent on the 3rd year of the county's well water testing program. And this is an example of a hard practice where you can see the before and after shot. We actually shaped and regrade a grassed waterway, which is designed to encourage better field drainage and also minimizes the TMDLs that get into the watersheds. We also continue to contract with the USDA APHIS, or an Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service. We provide wildlife damage abatement and claims for deer damage. Payable losses in 2021, which is basically we just act as an in and out service. But the payments provided to 7 qualified groups represented $31,347. And there was a total of 128 acres of damaged land. 103 deers were harvested through this program. Now, for that program, we do receive a small little stipend. So it's basically in-out monies. As I do every year, I always make mention of the fact that our office is involved in a couple multi-jurisdictional consortiums. These are designed to address regional and national concerns. The Winnebago Waterways Program is just one of these efforts. We've worked together with Fond du Lac County, Winnebago County, Calumet County, the Wisconsin DNR, the Fox Wolf Water Alliance, as well as numerous contributors, volunteers, and focus groups. This plan that you see before you was actually approved in 2020, but we've now entered into our 2nd year of the implementation phase. To this end, our group has been very instrumental in the last year, just in the formation of public interest groups and regional workshop sessions with farmers and lakefront property owners, with the sole purpose of improving the overall water quality to the pool lakes. We have also worked very closely with the DNR and the Army Corps of Engineers on the establishment and setting of new lake levels designed to encourage greater aquatic plant growth. Myself and a few others of the department continue to be involved in not only individual sections technical groups as part of the individual sections, technical sections of the plan, but I'm also involved in the steering committee for said group. And I just wanted to point out, if you notice up here, and sorry, I'm just going to pull this out, you'll notice that just a small little portion of Lake Poygan actually encroaches or comes into the county. However, you'll notice the numerous number of watersheds. All of those actually are directly contribute to the overall water quality of the 4 Winnebago pool lakes. Our involvement in this group has paid off beneficial dividends to the county. For the DNR, actually prepared a 9 key element plan for 72 Huck 12s. That's enormous and at a huge cost. But to us, our cost was just time putting in as being part of this group. But we've actually used this information in terms of focusing our efforts on the watersheds in and around this area. So it's paid off great benefits as well as helping out the pool lakes. We've also entered into the 2nd year of the Central Sands Groundwater County Collaborative. Our group is comprised of health professionals, land conservation professionals, and designated county supervisors from Adams County, Juneau County, Marquette County, Portage County, Wood County, and Golden Sands. Leading the efforts on behalf of Waushara County is Mary Roble, our county health department, Ed Hernandez, Deputy Director of Land Conservation, Mark Piaski, county supervisor, and myself. And this overall consortium was assembled to work together in assessing the overall quality of the groundwater in the Central Sands region and to hopefully come up with a plan to tackle the amount of pollutants getting into our groundwater. COVID unfortunately wreaked havoc on this. There was a number of legislative measures and actual bills that were passed by the Assembly in 2020. However, due to COVID and the Senate going into perpetual or recess in perpetuity, all of those bills stalled and ultimately failed. We are in the process, though, of recircling our wagons again to hopefully reintroduce these bills and in hope of getting these all passed. One good note, we did receive a grant from the DNR for $65,000. That enabled our group to hire a postdoc who is currently in the process of compiling all of our tests, not just ours, but all the surrounding counties, for an initial gap analysis. And that will hopefully provide us with some invaluable information and seeing exactly where we are at and where we need to go. The unfortunate thing is our group has been moving very slowly, and that's primarily due to legislative measures. It just seems like nobody wants to take this up. And that's why it brings us to where we're at today. And one effort I want to point out that our department is spearheading with the intent of actually improving our water quality for our own residents. As many of you are aware, the county did finalize the private well water testing program last fall. This was a 3-year event. The map that you see before you actually represents over 350 tests that were conducted. And if you'll notice down in the bottom there in the nitrate, you'll notice that about 86 of these tests had elevated levels of nitrates. To this end, Ed Hernandez, myself, and along with the assistance of Norm Diesterhoff, we earmarked approximately $300,000 of ARPA funds that the county recently received to be used towards water quality improvements. Our first phase would actually be a cost sharing program where we would actually install water treatment systems in homes with recorded high levels of nitrates. And then lastly, the second phase is if the funding is still available, depending upon how this program takes off, we would then work with our local plumbers and offer a stipend or a cost share program to encourage septic haulers to bring holding tank or septic tank septage to licensed water treatment facilities. The goal of this program is to provide immediate relief to families in need, as well as to possibly minimize overland spreading of septage, thereby decreasing the introduction of nitrates into the groundwater. Ed and I are very close in terms of finalizing the first phase. We've had several meetings with Louis. We've had several meetings with individual companies. We are hoping that in April, we will bring a proposal to Louis with finalized numbers and an outline and dummy contracts. We're hoping that would be adopted, and then we'd hopefully bring that to the full board for approval, probably in May when the full board reconvenes. I'd just like to point out, this is something that our legislators and states have failed to do. If you notice, we've done a lot of testing. Our feeling on it is we can actually take the ARPA funds and do something worthwhile to the residents. This would be precedent setting. I think right now only city of Waushara is doing something similar, but they're taking $90,000 and actually providing water to the schools, bottled water to the schools. Here, I think we have an opportunity to provide our residents with clean drinking water. It's a Band-Aid, but it's a start. And at least these people that are experiencing 40, 50, 60 parts per million in terms of nitrates, literally polluted poop water, so to speak, we can get them down to four parts per million, and they could be drinking and bathing in clean drinking water. Now, as I was preparing this year's presentation, I look back at the last couple of years and shake my head and wonder. And I also wonder just what's in store for us next. Despite all these challenges and the ever-increasing activity in the county, I applaud each and every member of my team and that of the entire county for displaying such resiliency. While we were faced with overwhelming obstacles, we all found ways to persevere so as to continue and provide a high level of service to our community. I say it each year and will continue to express my gratitude to you all for allowing me to lead this department, as well as to my staff. We're not only working alongside one another each and every day, we're learning from each other, which is making us stronger, more knowledgeable, and a better department. I've never seen such a devoted and unified team such as that which I have. I've always maintained an open door policy. And I ask any of you, if you ever have any questions or just want to chat, please stop by. I know a lot of you do. Thank you very much. And if anyone has any questions,
Thank you, Todd.
did I put you to sleep? Thank you all.
All right, next we have Medical Examiner's Office Annual Report. Amanda.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you all are doing well. You all look very well.
Are you drumming up business again?
No, I don't need any more business right now. I'm busy enough. So as you know, when I give my report, it's a lot of what had occurred in the county for deaths, what they look like, what we encountered type of thing. So just keep that in mind when you go through this with me. I don't put up pretty pictures because unfortunately the things that I look at aren't very pretty. So I would like to entertain you with the busyness of my schedule. All right. So currently our staff members consist of myself as the medical examiner. We have Heidi Hansen. She is our newest member of the medical examiner's office. She is a registered nurse and she is also a professor at Waushara. She teaches in anthropology and nursing. We also have Emily Gray Kretschner, and she is another deputy medical examiner that has been with our office for approximately 2 years now. They both are doing wonderfully. Heidi has only been on since January 10th, but she has had quite exposure to what we're dealing with. And she actually was a previous hospice nurse, which gives her a lot of extra ability to deal with those in the grieving situation. We deal with people in a specific situation that not everybody can deal with. Currently, we have a vacant position because we had one of our deputy medical examiners resign. She works at the hospital. She's been putting in overtime since COVID had hit and they were down staff members there. She's been putting in a lot of extra hours. And unfortunately, she came to my office in tears and asked that she resign because she just can't do it anymore. I told her if she ever wanted to come back, she's welcome. So we are currently in the process of hiring somebody new. But as you well know, and you've probably heard, these are not jobs that people are jumping at, so it does take time for that to happen. These are the types of deaths that we typically take care of. The natural deaths that we all see, COVID is part of that natural death, suicides, accidental deaths, as well as homicides that we did not have any of last year, so I'm happy to report that. In 2021, in comparison with 2020, you can see that 2020 was a little bit higher by just a few deaths. 2019 was actually right around the 240 mark as well. So we're kind of in that area that we're going to probably see here now, I think, consistently for next year or this year as well. We had about 207 cases that came to our office. So every person that passes in Waushara County does get reported to our office. But we have to go through a series of questions that we ask either hospice nurses, physicians, nurses, any other person that is involved in that death if this qualifies as an ME death. Hospices don't always qualify as a death that would come through our office. If there's an injury or if there is something that brought them here because of a car accident and they subsequently passed because of that, but they were placed on hospice, that comes to us. But if there's no injuries, there's no falls or broken bones that kind of assisted them to that position they're in right now, and they're being buried, we don't actually take care of that. So that's what the difference in the total number of cases are with the ME cases. So I know it looks odd for the 207 natural and 207 ME cases, but what I did is took the 242 total count and I wanted to give you the overview of what Waushara County looks like in terms of deaths. So the 242 encompasses all of those deaths. So we had 207 natural, 24 accident. Now keep in mind, that's not vehicle accidents. Those are vehicle accidents included with elderly that may have a hip fracture, that have fallen and now they have a blood clot and are placed on hospice and subsequently die because of that hip fracture. That's actually considered a accidental death. We had 5 suicides, no homicides. We have currently no undetermined for this last year. We had 5 referrals where we were actually reported the case, but then found out that something had occurred in another jurisdiction and passed that information on to that other jurisdiction. And then we had 22 autopsies, which I believe is record for this county. When you look at 2020, that's 16 autopsies. That's pretty typical for our county. But when you're looking at it from a standpoint of budgetary reasons, it's $1,400 for just the autopsy to take place. That does not take care of toxicology, histology, or anything else that would go along with that case. This is it broken down in January through June, so I'll take you through each month. You can kind of see how COVID had progressed through the year. I know we're hoping that we're on the end of COVID. We had a very busy first couple of months, but then it started to come down a little bit, but then you will see it goes up again in August. And then November and December are typically very busy months as well. And December, I think, was our highest for COVID-related deaths. Just to keep you updated too, for cases, when you look at these and per case, it doesn't seem like, if you think about it, say we have 31 days in December, we only have 25 cases. That means the other days we're not doing anything. But each case actually takes about 4 to 6 hours if you think about it. By the time you get there, you're doing your scene investigation, you're taking your photographs, you're doing some paperwork. Then I have to go back to the office. I have to request records. I have to talk to physicians or nurses. I have to go through those records, and I have to make sure that what the family is telling me and what's in those records coincide correctly. Sometimes it's even more talking to family and seeing what their symptoms were. Do they match up? Do they not? Is there a need to take toxicology for this patient or for this decedent? So just keep that in mind, that these cases they are very encompassing. So we have a Tri-County Overdose Fatality Review Team that I talked to you about last year. In March 2020, I was approached by our health department and asked if we wanted to do a grant to get monies for drug overdoses. And since we're very blessed, we don't have a whole lot of drug overdose deaths. I thought it would be more beneficial to combine the counties so that we could get that funding to apply to this. So we were granted that. We are now in our 3rd cycle of the funding. We rotate through the counties, so Green Lake, Marquette, and Waushara counties. We rotate through the counties every review. We have 4 reviews a year. We take a look at those cases. We are able to provide recommendations to the state, recommendations to our local authorities to kind of give some system changes and see if we can move forward with reducing those overdose deaths. We also had the ability, because we were not able to be held in person, the state gave us additional funding that we could apply for certain things. So last year we applied for additional funding for Dropbox cards in 3 different languages. We created them ourselves. We had them printed here actually at Stillman Printing. And we're trying to keep these monies in Waushara, Green Lake, and Marquette County. So any monies we get, we're trying to really keep them in the Tri-County so they benefit it in more than one way. So we actually did the Dropbox cards. We got urine analysis cups for all of the coroners and medical examiners in the county so that we can actually assist law enforcement right on scene with urine draws and kind of point them in the direction of what the drug may be if there is an overdose. We also went ahead and started a transportation team where we took funding because we identified that some of the persons who were involved in substance use disorder that were really struggling with the recovery, there was a transportation issue. They had their license taken away at one point in their life. They weren't able to get it back. They didn't have a vehicle that worked. So they would actually struggle trying to get to their appointments to continue their recovery. So we actually partnered up with MedVan, which covers all 3 counties, and they were giving rides to and from their appointments so they would, hopefully be more successful in their program. And that is kind of been on the backside of things because we noticed Green Lake County had stopped their drug treatment court. And so we got a lot of participants from them, and now they're kind of reamping a different position. So we're hoping to continue that because it's the first one in the state, and we really like to continue that pilot program to give them some good results. The implementation funding we received this year for this grant cycle expires in August. They gave us an additional $10,000 to hold a community event for information for community members, families, and the substance use community to be able to show that we are a unified front for these persons so that they can continue success in their recovery. But we also identified that we want to bring out the family members and show them that we care, that we're here, that we are trying to do good, we're trying to prevent overdose deaths. So we are hopefully going to be holding this in early June 2022. We're trying to hold it at a school because we want to bring in the students, we want to bring in the parents, the counselors, we want to bring in everybody from the Tri-County area. So we're more than likely going to be holding it in Marquezan. And then if we continue to get funding next year as well, we're going to move that around to the Tri-Counties. We're just going to keep alternating it, kind of like we do our reviews. We have a person who is coming in with lived experience, who is not your atypical person that you would see with substance use disorder. She is actually a member of our Tri-County. She lives in the Tri-County, and we thought that would be a really good recovery path for her as well. She's shared her story with us, and she has agreed to share her story with the public as well. We also are looking at honoring those who have lost their lives in substance use in our 3 counties to show the families that we do still care as well. We want them to know that we're there for them. Initially with Waushara County, when I came on board, they had the death review team. It was kind of like a child death review team, but they had allowed for encompassing all deaths that we thought should be reviewed. It was just Waushara County. And then when we had created the OFR, I thought, well, why don't we just encompass all 3 counties for this? Because the other 2 counties did not have a death review team. So we now have combined, as of January 2022, we now have Tri-County Death Review Team that encompasses Green Lake, Marquette, and Waushara counties as well. We rotate with the counties. This is all virtual too. All of these meetings are all virtual because we have 30+ partners. We want to be able to get there. We want their input. We want to be able to have recommendations for them. And this is beneficial for everyone, for outside agencies to assist in recommendations for those case reviews. Thank you for allowing me to be here today. I hope I didn't bore you to death.
Thank you, Amanda. Do you have any questions for Amanda? I have one. That transportation, or that grant that you have that covers the transportation, does that also cover transportation for someone like who's in the drug court?
Yes,
It
so
does.
they have to qualify for the transportation funding. They have to be in substance use treatment,
Right.
either by a physician, a therapist, a psychologist, or they have to be in drug treatment court.
Right.
And we
Okay.
want them to use this. I mean, we've stockpiled a bunch of money with MedVan that they basically are just saying, okay, if somebody needs a ride somewhere, let us know, and they pre-qualify them for it. We've actually had it where we had a participant that was need to be taken up to Minocqua for participation in a effort up there for them, and we paid for it. It was like $300.
Wow.
So we said, let's
That's
do
great.
this if it helps her in her recovery.
Because I know they used to have someone in drug court that was walking from Red Granite just to come to drug court, right, Missy? Do you remember the one that walked from Red Granite just to attend drug court? So,
Oh,
Yeah.
goodness.
so
Yeah, that
That's
is
great
exactly
that-
what it's
yeah.
for.
very good.
So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, next we have discussion of possible motion action item. Number 1 is the highway pay policy revision. That was in your book, in your, on your tablet. I'm sure you all saw it. Motion by Mr. Bonfiglio to approve, second by Mr. Kirschner. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Next, we have resolution number 04-03-22, a resolution allowing Director of Parks to apply for trail aids under section 23.0926. Motion by Mr. Eckstein to approve, second by Mr. Jarvis. Are there any questions concerning this? I know Kevin is here in case you have any questions. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And this one is going to require a roll call vote. It's resolution number 05-03-22, establishing total annual compensation for county elected officers pursuant to section 59-22 Wisconsin statutes, sheriff and clerk of circuit court. Motion by Mr. Lauer, is that to approved?
Yes.
Okay, and do we have a second? Second by Mr. Eckstein. Do you have any questions? No questions? All right, and then it's time to vote. Did you vote? You need to vote.
Yes, evidently. Just couldn't.
You got it,
Yeah.
okay. All right, this is passed by unanimous vote. Thank you. All right, next we have resolution number 06-03-22, a resolution reclassifying parks summer positions. Motion by Mr. Eckstein to approve, I assume.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Second by Mr. Kirschner. Do you have any questions concerning this resolution? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Resolution number 07-03-22, a resolution creating up to 3 LTE positions for the Parks Department to complete the CDBG grant program work. I'm going to ask you to talk about that a little bit, Kevin, please. As long as you came, you might as well talk.
Bring that up to a normal person's height.
Yeah.
Back in late spring, early summer of last year, we applied for the CDBG close funding. We were awarded that grant. I have some very good news. The money will be released on the 28th of this month.
Yay.
That has been an absolute big project with the amount of paperwork that's required on that. It's a federally funded grant, so there's a lot of hoops to jump through, and we have two endangered species in 2 of the project sites, which has been our big holdup. Is the I'm not going to say it. It's the blue butterfly, Everett. I always call it the Kirschner blue butterfly, and it's not. And then we have a bat that is also endangered, and it's located in the Mount Morris area. So there was a lot of extra paperwork that we had to do and a lot of extra approvals that we had to have done. We're not done with that. I have to have a professional endangered species surveyor come out and tell me that it's going to be okay. But long story short, everything's good. We get the money in 2 weeks. We can start spending. Because of it's Waushara County, and we don't have a lot of contractors to pool to begin with. B, it's already late in the game to get contractors to work this summer. I'm asking that we get up to 3 LTE positions to do the work, which would be fully funded by the grant. It will not affect the budget at all. All the money would come back to the county through the grant. That's it in a nutshell. We got a lot of work to do, a very short window to do it. All the work has to be completed by October 31st.
It's like flat work, basically. I mean,
The bulk of the project is modifying our restroom buildings. So where we have 2 stalls now and they're 30 inches, we'll be eliminating 1 stall. So it's a 60-inch accessible restroom. So there's a lot of that. There is considerable flat work, especially at the fairgrounds. And if we can find a contractor to do it, we would be totally rehabbing and modifying the restroom facilities at Mount Morris Park and in the Rabbit Barn at the fairgrounds, because they're not accessible and there's really no way to make them accessible without shifting everything around, which is all the plumbing work. So,
I think it's a good idea. It might just be kind of hard though to find.
well, I talked to Amy.
People that are qualified.
Yeah. And hopefully we can get some retired people that have, some experience in the construction industry. I did talk to Amy Brown over at the Fox Valley Tech to hopefully see if we can get some students through some of their construction programs. So,
Sounds good. Do you have any questions for Kevin?
thank you guys.
Just an observation. I was at Coosa Lake when Kevin was there with, I don't know her name, but
Benny?
anyway, and she is in a wheelchair. And so she went around with Kevin to all the sites so that they could find out just right there whether they were accessible or not. And
And that was very eye-opening for me because I've been doing ADA projects for, over 20 years, but I've never had the opportunity to visit the sites with someone that is in a wheelchair. And Jenny is blessed that, she has a $100,000 wheelchair. Most people don't. So she is able to do a lot of things that people that are in a standard wheelchair aren't. But it really opened my eyes on the difficulties that we all take advantage of and don't even think about.
yeah, so these are very necessary.
Yeah.
These.
Mhm. And we did, when Ruth talked about it a little bit at Kiwanis, a couple of the guys there wanted to know if they could volunteer too. So, might want to tap into that as well.
Yep. Yeah, there's more work than we can handle
Yeah.
in 6 months. So we'll take anything and every bit of assistance that we can get to get this rolling.
Sounds good.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Kevin. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Bonfiglio, second by Eckstein. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Next, we have resolution number 08-03-22, a resolution to reorganize the Department of Human Services. That was in your packet as well. Motion by Mr. Bonfiglio to approve, second by Mr. Jarvis. Do you have any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Resolution number 09-03-22, a resolution confirming the appointment of Alan Uccini as Emergency Management Coordinator. Motion by Mr. Kirschner, second by Mr. Eckstein to approve, I assume.
Yes.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Next, we have resolution number 10-03-22, acknowledgement of Deputy Angel Janish's service to and retirement from Waushara County. Motion by Mr. Wado to approve,
Yes.
second by Mr. Jarvis. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Resolution number 11-03-22, acknowledgement of Deputy David Brown's service to and retirement from Waushara County. Motion by Mr. Jarvis, second by Mr. Wado. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Next, we have resolution number 14-03-22, a resolution to make a sole source determination. Motion by Mr. King to approve.
Yes.
Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Lauer. Do you have any questions concerning this? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. A resolution to combine certain county board standing committees beginning April 2022. Motion by Mr. Monfiglio, do we have a second? Second by Mr. Jarvis. Do you want any clarification on this, or you do? All right, Everett would like to have some clarification. Ruth or Melissa?
Like we were talking before about kind of combining some of the committees to create some efficiencies. We were suggesting combining the personnel and the executive committee because a lot of the functions overlap. And and sometimes it's some of the same people that are at both from the committee level and the departments. So to combine those into one, and then that committee will decide when and where that one will meet because it's on 2 different days right now. And then the other recommendation is to combine the Veteran Services Committee with the Veteran Services Commission. And that there's just some overlap there, and then just to create some efficiency for the public members that are on those committees, and then in respect of your time. Get everything?
Okay.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question? We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Next, we have ordinance number 671, an ordinance amending Waushara County zoning maps pursuant to the authority granted in Chapter 58, Waushara County Code, Zone Change, Getaway House Incorporated, Town of Mount Morris. Motion by Mr. King to approve, second by Mr. Waddell. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed, same sign. All right, then we have some appointments. An appointment for Human Services Board, James Jarvis, Watoma, term April 1st, 2022 through March 31st, 2025. I believe Jim has been serving on the Human Services Board for a while. I don't know how many years exactly, but I think he does a very good job on that board. So I'll entertain a motion. Motion by Mr. Tim, second by Mr. Eckstein. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Library Services Committee, Jim Miller, Hancock, term January 2022 through January 2025. And Jeannie Macbeth, Red Granite, term March 2022 through March 2025. Motion by Mr. Jarvis, second by Mr. Waddell to approve. Mr. Miller has been serving on this committee for as long as I've been on the board, I think. And he also represents the Hancock Public Library on their board. And he has been a longtime member of Winnifox. So, and I think he's held some offices in Winnifox. And then Jeannie, I think, is a new librarian in Red Granite, and she is anxious to get on board and jump right in and get things done. So I will entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Mr. Tim, second by Mr. Eckstein. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Proclamations recognizing April 2022 as National County Government Month. Counties Thrive. I know Heather has been doing a fantastic job on this committee, and I believe we will have do we have all 3 high schools attending, Heather? Okay, sounds good. Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Mr. Cap to approve, second by Mr. Bonfiglio. Do you have any questions about this? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Next, we have designating April 4th through the 8th, 2022 as Tornado and Severe Weather Awareness Week. Motion by Mr. Lauer and a second by Mr. Kirschner. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, the next one is declaring April 10th through the 16th, 2022 as National Public Safety Telecommunications Week? Motion by Mr. Piaski to approve, I assume, and second by Mr. Lauer. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Next, designating April 11th through the 15th, 2022 as Work Zone Safety Awareness Week. Motion by Mr. Jarvis, second by Mr. Eckstein. I know there was legislation, Brian knows all about this. There is legislation and they didn't act on it, trying to bring attention to this to everyone. And one of the big hangups is they don't want them to be able to wear cameras. And shoot, I could stand next to the person and pull my camera there and nobody could do anything about it. So I don't understand the hangup, but it is what it is. All right. Okay, we have a motion in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, next, proclaiming April 4th through the 10th, 2022 as National Public Health Week. Motion by Mr. Eckstein, second by Mr. Jarvis. Any questions? This is where you're supposed to speak, Everett, and tell us all about why you think it should be National Health Week. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, consideration and possible action on the following resolutions. A resolution number 12-03-22, a resolution acknowledging the commendable service of Jerry Lauer as Waushara County Board Supervisor.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Waddell, second by Mr. Kirschner. And a very big thank you very much for being on the board and all your hard work. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Next, we have resolution number 13-03-22, a resolution acknowledging the commendable service of Larry Tim as Waushara County Board Supervisor. Motion by Mr. King, second by Mr. Waddell. And thank you very much, Larry, for all your work that you've done. And we certainly appreciate it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Before we adjourn, I guess I would like to know if Melissa would like to introduce Rena to us, to the board. I know. She's happy back there. So in other words, she's got to jump right into election time. So happy campaigning, Rena.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Yes,
we can have pictures.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know. Okay, do we have any board suggestions for future agenda items? Next, we'll have our 9 o'clock organizational meeting. Don't forget that it is 9 o'clock. And we'll try to not to keep you, well, I don't know if I'll be here, but because I'm running opposed, and as is Mark Kushner. So, but you all will have your organizational meeting at 9 o'clock on April 19th. Okay. Motion by Mr. Eckstein to adjourn, second by Mr. Tim. We are adjourned. Thank you very much. You know what, Megan? Totally forgot to read those resolutions. Yeah. My bad.
Want to stop? Real? Mile. Okay. You want to go then? All right. Oh, okay.
I gotta work the next day, but I gotta work at you on today.
No. That's not off. He's got some new blonde. I don't think she's gonna last. I don't care. 7 days a week is too much bartending.
He likes it.
Well, I don't know if he likes her, but what else she gonna get?
Enjoy it. Oh, it's been nice work.